Hey guys, Simon here. Welcome back to my channel Such Plants. It's been a little while since I've done a video. Took a little break through December and I didn't really have much to show you guys. But what I have today is another Ecuagenera import. It's much fewer plants this time. I think I've got 5 plants in here, so I thought I'd do a quick video unboxing these and see what they're like, and maybe also just add to you that a couple of the other plants that I've got through December, a couple of wishlist plants that came in through swaps or through purchases through other avenues other than Ecuagenera. So let's show you guys what that's about. I'm also shooting in the greenhouse. I think I'm going to shoot from here from now on and see how it goes. Let's have a look at what's in this. I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. So I do have a bucket here with some water in it. And I'm just going to soak them in water overnight and then have a look at the roots the next day or tomorrow and see whether or not I'm going to pot them up or do whatever I need to do, leave them in water, whatever. Most of these plants are anthurium because the anthurium did so well last time. I'm giving them another go, and I did order one philodendron. I ordered a Marmee green, but it was damaged in transit, so that they weren't able to provide me. Right, let's have a look. First one, anthurium peltigerum. I really liked the look of this plant. It's got the same sort of leaf shape as the forgetii, but it isn't a velvet. So I'm quite excited to see. It also looks like quite a big plant, which I'm happy about. Okay, the roots look pretty good. And actually, these leaves, they're a little soft. It's just a really cool anthurium, I think. I'm pretty excited about this guy. Quite leathery, actually. Let's get him into the water and see how he perks up. These small leaves over here have got they're a little yellowing. But actually the roots look pretty good. They are slightly dry, but it's not crunchy. So there is definitely still some moisture in there. I'm just going to put them in here with the moss, actually. Anthurium timplaumanii. I think this was like a little bit of a impulse buy. They were having a sale and I kind of went through last minute just before they closed off the ordering for this pre-order, and I saw this plant and I just kind of rushed and grabbed it and added it to the list, and it looks actually pretty cool, so I'm excited about it. It's got a similar texture to the peltigerum actually, but just a slightly more traditionally shaped anthurium leaf. So again, that kind of leathery leaf, it's very cool. I like that a lot. Yeah, super happy so far. Let's have a look at these roots. There's a little bit of breakage and some damage, like some physical damage to the roots, but actually, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but actually the roots themselves are still quite plump and white. There's no browning, so I think this will be good. Monstera obliqua, which when I first started collecting plants was super rare and super expensive. And although this plant wasn't exactly cheap, it was definitely sort of on a par with what I normally spend on plants. So I took the opportunity to add one to my collection. I really do love these leaves, and oh, so pretty. I love how intricate the patterning is. Oh, they're so pretty. It's actually a decent size as well. That's really, really nice. Love that. Yeah. So excited to add this to the collection. New leaf coming through over here as well. How do these roots look? Also not bad. I can see some moisture on the cling film. So there's definitely some moisture still in here, and the roots look white. They are much finer roots than the anthurium, so I think I'm going to have to be a little more careful with this guy. But I think the mistake that I made last time when I did this order is that I planted a lot of them into perlite and then moved them across to my arrowed mix. And I think what I'm going to do is going to go directly into arrowed mix this time and skip the perlite step if I feel like they're ready, and otherwise just leave them in water to rehydrate for longer instead of water, perlite, arrowed mix. It's like too much disturbance of those roots. This looks actually really good. I don't think this is going to be a problem. Really pretty. Anthurium luxurians. Okay, they said they said seedling. Bless. It really is very small. I was quite nervous to order the luxurians last time because I'd heard that they were quite finicky, but after speaking to a couple of people, they've all said that they actually aren't so bad. Okay, he's really teeny tiny, but not too bad. I love the texture on these leaves. They feel fairly hydrated still, even though this feels quite dry. Oh, there are some roots there. Yeah, no, the roots look good. White roots, no browning. I think, yeah, these plants look good. I'm excited. Anthurium definitely seemed to travel better than the philodendron. Although I'm not sure, maybe last time the philodendron were just bad luck. This is the Anthurium Bessiae. This plant I'm also pretty excited about. I like the really dark leaves, and from what I've seen on Instagram, and I'm not sure, maybe this is just tricks of the light, but quite a few of the pictures on Instagram seems to have this. It's almost like a purpley sheen when the leaves are unfurling. Now they're also like really pretty much in good shape. I was expecting the leaves to be a little bit darker, but that's a really pretty plant. I think what I'm going to do now, I'm going to leave these plants in water overnight and then come back tomorrow, maybe tomorrow afternoon, because I'm working tomorrow, so I'll leave them in water overnight and through the day. And then what I'll do is I will pot them up tomorrow and at the same time show you what I'm doing there, as well as showing you some of the other wishlist plants that I collected over December. So I'm back. It's been just under 24 hours since I unpacked the plants. What I eventually ended up doing, because I checked on the roots and they were looking so amazing, is that I decided to just rehydrate the moss that they came in and leave them in that overnight and not unpack them and put them in water. So now I think what I'm going to do is just going to pot them up into my aerode mix. They all look like they've got fantastic roots. As I'm unpacking them, I'll show you the roots. And then after I've done that, I'll show you some of the plants that I picked up over December as well, just to add a little bulk to this video. Okay, first up we have the Peltigerum. These roots are looking absolutely unbelievable. They are super hydrated, really nice and white and firm. So I can't see us having any problems with any of these plants. Actually, they all look very similar. I can feel in the leaves they absolutely did firm up a little bit overnight, so that's a good sign as well. I've got 3 size pots that I can pot up into. I've got a 12 centimeter, a 14 centimeter and a 16 centimeter. I think with this Peltigerum, yeah, I think I'm going to go with a 14 centimeter. Okay, that's that guy potted up. The aerode mix I'm using is incredibly airy. I found that with all of my philodendron and my anthurium, they really do tend to do much better in a very airy mix. So this is pretty much sort of equal parts of orchid bark, perlite, leca, activated charcoal, and I've just added a small tiny amount of cocoa peat just for a little bit of moisture retention. I tend to be a overwaterer. I check on my plants every day and water probably every second day, depending on how hot and dry it is. So an airy mix allows for a lot of that water to drain through the pot and it stops any root rot from forming. And also I just find that the very chunky roots of the anthurium find it easier to burrow into any air pockets that they might find in a super airy mix like this. Where do I put all these plants now? It's gonna go on the floor. This is the Bessiae, and this plant actually, for the size plant that it is, has got such a great root system. Also super hydrated, really white roots, no sort of dead bits, but really the roots look amazing. I have no doubt that these plants are all going to do incredibly well. I think this can also go into a 14 centimeter pot. That's him potted up. Might do with these, and what I tend to do with all my anthurium is cap it with some sphagnum moss. and it just forms a sort of barrier that prevents a lot of the moisture within this very airy mix from evaporating out, and it keeps generally the moisture into that soil mix without leaving it feeling super soggy. This is the root system on the luxurians. It is a little bit on the small side, so I am going to put it into an aroid mix, but I'm going to keep a very close eye on how well this plant is doing and try and keep it maybe in a little bit of extra high humidity, because the root system is not as big as I would like. And that's also going to go into a 12 centimeter pot, which is probably a little bit big for this plant, but because the aroid mix is so airy, there's not a big chance of root rot with this. So let's see how it goes. Okay, that's him potted up, looking super cute. I just love the texture on these leaves, really awesome. This is the Timplowmanii, also got really great roots and a really nice big chunk. So I think what I might do here is I might actually give this a little chop and see if I can propagate this, because a lot of these roots are coming from up top here. So if I chop it maybe over there, I think we should be good. There we go. Now I have that chunk. There are some small roots on there, which should be enough to get it going. And that still has a nice big chunk of roots on it to keep it going. There that is potted up. There is a new leaf looking like it's starting to come through here. I hope that the stress of travel doesn't stop that from coming through, but if it does, I know that it will bounce back pretty quickly. These leaves feel very hydrated. This is such a cute plant. I don't think it gets very big, but I really like these shiny leathery leaves with a strong sort of vein coming through the middle of it. A very cool plant. Okay, the last plant up for potting is the obliqua. This plant has got slightly finer roots than the anthurium, so I'll be interested to see how they look after a night of hydration. Okay, so this plant has got great roots actually. They're looking amazing. But now the question I have is, do I chop and prop this plant? Because there seems to be 1, 2, 3 growth points. This one over here is pretty small. This one over here has got a nice big new root starting over there. And then this one over here is kind of attached to that smaller one. So I wonder if I could, no, you know what? I'm actually going to keep this plant intact. I'll get a nice bushier plant out of it, and I think I would prefer that. I can always chop it at a later date, but I think for now, let's keep this guy intact. And there that is potted up. Yeah, I'm happy to have actually kept this plant intact. He's looking good, some nice new leaves coming through. Such a cute plant. Okay, perfect. I'm happy I did that. So that's all the potting that I need to do. Let me show you some of the plants that I picked up over the December holidays. This plant, when I first started collecting, was also kind of like one of those plants that was out of my price range, and I was never going to be able to afford it because it was so super rare. But the prices have come down a lot lately, and I managed to get this one for what felt to me like a steal. This is the Philodendron UPI, and I really like this leaf, and I like how big these leaves get as well. I'll eventually, I'm just letting this plant settle a little bit before I repot, and I will put it onto a pole and hopefully mature these leaves up. Which was the leaf before this one? I think it's this one here, and the leaf before that was this one here. So you can see that over time the leaves are definitely taking on a more mature form, and I really love this plant. I really think it's very cool, so very happy to have it. I also got this plant, the variegated Adansonii. It has well, it hasn't lost leaves. I've cut a couple of leaves off. So I cut it, I don't know if you can see over there. I'll try and zoom in on that. Because I got quite a few, like about 3 pure white leaves coming out of the plant, so I wanted to cut it. I have tried to propagate those and I want to see what comes out of them. I'm not very hopeful. I think that those will just die off eventually, but I can see an activated growth point on this already. So I'm hoping I get some leaves that have got better sort of green-white variegation on this plant, but if not, I'll just chop a node in and try again and hopefully get that right. At the same time as I got the white variegated Adansonia, I also got the Aurea. I really actually like this plant a lot more than I thought I was going to. I really like how the leaves come in sort of more green variegated or all green. I mean, when they first unfurl, it's sometimes really difficult, like, I mean, on this plant, this leaf here, it's quite difficult to see any kind of variegation on that. And then as the leaves age, you can start seeing that variegation come through more and more. It's a very, very nice plant. So it does have a little bit of mechanical damage from shipping, but the latest leaves, these ones coming through on this side, they're all looking really, really good. I really love this plant, and I'll put this up onto a pole as well as soon as it gets really established in here. It's doing super well. I also managed to get this Jose Bueno in a swap, and I really, really like this plant. Also one of those plants that comes out, this is the newest leaf. It's a little wonky for some reason, I think because it's got such a high degree of variegation, but they come out, the variegation is super white, and then as those leaves age, that white turns more to a mint color and eventually fades down to like a darker green. But a really, really nice plant. And this plant has grown like crazy for me. It really has established very well. It's almost time, I think, maybe for a repot. Yeah, you can see those roots are doing really, really well. So definitely gonna maybe upsize this guy and put him into, in fact, maybe I should do that now. Yeah, let me do that now. Okay, that's him repotted into a really nice big pot. You can see how super airy this mix is. This is quite a big jumping pot for him. It's up 2 sizes. I don't have the middle size anymore. I need to go and buy some, but at the rate this guy's growing, that shouldn't be a problem. He's going to do super well in this. This is a Monstera elbow. I already have an elbow that has got a lot more green in it, and I knew when I bought this plant that the white variegation was a little bit too much, but I just think that the plant is so beautiful. I mean, look at this leaf. So I'm taking a chance on it. I mean, it has given me 2 leaves since I've had it. That leaf is not looking great. The problem with a plant that's got such white variegation is that the white doesn't last very long. And there is a new leaf coming through here now, and that does look like it's got some green in it. So I'm hoping that there's enough green in the plant to keep it lasting, and I'm hoping that it doesn't revert to an all white plant. But it wasn't that expensive when I bought it, so I'm just kind of taking a chance on this guy and seeing if we can get this guy to survive. I love that variegation, so pretty. This is a Paraíso Verde that I got. I have heard that sometimes when you chop and prop these guys that they lose their variegation, but there does seem to be some nice variegation on that leaf, and there is a new leaf coming through. Somebody mentioned, I was watching a video on YouTube the other day, and somebody mentioned that it might have something to do with the heat, that it's like a stable virus that gets activated by the heat. I don't know, it sounds a little weird to me, but that could be right, I'm not sure. But yeah, it is pretty much boiling hot here in South Africa at the moment, so that makes sense that that would come through variegated. But also pretty happy about this plant. I think they are very pretty. I like that sort of mottled spotty variegation, very cool. Just trying to think if I should do any updates on my original Ecuagenera order, anything that's doing particularly well. This is the Metallicum that I got from my original order. These were the size leaves that it came with originally, and then the first leaf I got was this one over here. I did have a hailstorm, and one of those hailstones came through one of the vents in the greenhouse here and damaged that leaf, but I've now since got this leaf, which is even bigger, pretty much hardened off now, so that's going to be the size. But this plant has done incredibly well, so happy with it. And then the other plant that's done incredibly well is this plant, which is the pallidiflorum. This is the biggest original leaf that the plant came with. The first leaf I got was this one, dropped down a little bit in size, but then I got this guy, which is pretty big, and this is a brand new leaf coming through here, looking really good. I don't want to touch it too much because it's still growing and they get damaged very easily. And then also we have a little inflorescence coming through. So I don't know what this can be cross-pollinated with. I have some Forgetii that are flowering at the moment as well. So, I mean, I'll try cross-pollinate, but I don't actually think that the pallidiflorum and the Forgetii are compatible to be cross-pollinated together. But either way, I'll give it a go. You never know. See what happens. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap up this video over there. Hope you've enjoyed watching. I will keep you updated on how these plants are doing. Probably maybe in about 3 months I'll update you and see how much they've grown. I doubt that there's going to be any problems with this plant. They all came in with fantastic roots and I'm not worried about them in the least. I'm sure I just want to give them 3 months, get some new growth out of them before I update you on how those are doing, and then maybe I'll do an update on all the Ecuagenera stuff all at the same time. Thanks for watching.